A lot of people are fighting what I call the virus, and this is the things that we've inherited that lie dormant inside of us that aren't good for us, that get activated when we stop taking care of ourselves, when we run into walls in our life and we wake up and all of a sudden our ambition and our motivation and our drive is just now kind of like lost in space. We don't want to get up to get knocked back down. We struggle finding results. And it's funny because this happens to a lot of type A people. It happens to a lot of people who have found success in their life. And I call it the virus because it really does lie dormant inside us. And there's no like antidote. There's no one way or one thing you can do. You know, there is a little bit of time required here for you to recover, but there is something you can do. Just like when you get a virus, you can rest and you can drink a lot of water, you can have vitamin C, you can take elderberry. There are things that you can do when you get hit with your virus that's dormant inside of you. And I want you to know that you're fighting something bigger than yourself. I think a lot of us get really defeated because we think we're fighting ourselves, right? We think that there's something wrong with us, and it's actually something that we didn't necessarily do. We just received, and when our body and our mind got to a point where it was vulnerable enough, that virus or the ways of thinking that we were predisposed to, poverty mentality, fears, indifference, things of that nature, those things get activated when we become vulnerable. And so I want you to know that you're not completely powerless in this situation. There are practical things you can do. And one of the things you can do is really just like hit the reset button when you're waking up in the morning and just start with the first thing that you need to do for that day, and that's take care of yourself. And I don't want you to think about trying to get through your whole day. I don't want you to think about getting through your week or your month or your year or your 5 years or what's going to happen in your life or your relationships or whatever, like financially. These are a lot of things. These ideas that I'm sharing with you now, these are things that I've struggled with, that a lot of people that I'm either working with or have talked with struggle with, and it's very unusual to people like us because we've never struggled with this in the past. In other words, we're the hyperactive type of people. We normally take our challenges and channel them into productivity, and then all of a sudden we become the hypo type of personality, which means that we it feels like become lazy, but it's not necessarily that we're lazy. It's that we're struggling with something bigger than ourselves. And so I want you to just think about how you can get back to the basics so you can take care of yourself, because when you're able to take care of yourself, you're actually able to start feeling better and you're able to start normalizing the situation around you. In other words, a lot of people's life circumstance is not as bad as they feel. A lot of people's life circumstance is not as bad as they feel. It's when we're able to change our internal state, the way we feel, that we're able to normalize and actually start to see the way that things actually are. And when we're able to see the way that things actually are, we're able to actually start making change to the way that we hope for things to be. Now, it starts with taking care of yourself so you can accurately see reality, but that'll change the way you feel. And when you change the way you feel, then you're going to be able to start addressing your priorities. And your other priorities are going to be the things that you've maybe lost hope in and have just kind of struggled to find traction in. Example, for me at one point, it was like, how do I make money? That was a real priority, but I lost a lot of hope in my own ability because I had faced so much struggle just in my life generally. I didn't feel like I had any more capacity or energy to devote towards making money, especially as an entrepreneur trying to figure things out on my own, not feeling like I had the support I needed, etc. And so I felt very defeated. So I didn't even want to address that priority because I didn't have the capacity or energy or even knowledge or plan. And so what really helped me once I was able to start taking care of myself was to develop a plan, was to develop just a method to attack whatever the most pressing need was. And once I was able to develop a method or a plan to actually make progress, then as I was on the road towards that priority of making money, for example, because it's a practical thing that I needed, I was able to actually feel like I was making progress because I had a plan to follow. If you're just waking up aimless and you're saying, I need to make money, so you just do a bunch of different things to try and make money, but you don't have a plan of how you're going to actually get there, you're going to feel pretty defeated over time because sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't work. And at the end of the day, you don't feel like you have any control over that process, right? So it's really helpful to, one, just take things one day at a time, start with what's most important, which is taking care of yourself, and then start addressing the things that you really need to do beyond taking care of yourself, which is maybe it's a financial concern, maybe it's a relational concern, maybe it's a career transition concern. There's a lot of different concerns we can have, most pressing needs in our lives. Then start focusing on that, but make a plan. Okay, so make a clear plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? You can have a number of different ways that plan actually unfolds. You don't have to be, white knuckling that plan, but you do have to have a plan so you can feel for your own sanity that you're making progress. That's the way you fight the virus. That's the way you fight some of these things that are attacking you when you're most vulnerable. Now, I could go into a whole story about how there's a way deeper root to these things, and spiritually, we found that there's not just in my own life, but even just working with people spiritually, there's a lot of things that need to be broken off in that inheritance, the non-financial negative inheritance, the predispositions to the way that we think or the way that we live or function. And so there's deeper things there, but I don't want you to miss the practical things that can really help you navigate how or what to do if that virus hits you. Okay, I really feel like that's a message for somebody. So I'd love to hear if that resonates or if you have any questions. This is something that's a deep and very personal topic for me, but I also know that there's a way out, and if there was hope for me, there's hope for you, and so I hope that is helpful to you.